Hello viewers, I'm Gaming Fish and welcome back. This week, we have a very light episode for you guys, but we are talking about all the events that happened at YCS Memphis. So let's go on ahead and jump right on into the fish tank. With YCS Memphis happening this past weekend and with over 750 players traveling to Graceland to duke it out for not only that tasty barbecue, but to see who is YCS champion as well as king of the format. Though many players have grown tired of this format, saying it's soft and stale and full of FTKs, that did not stop this top 32 from being absolutely packed with talent, featuring the likes of Maximilian Reynolds from Voltage Games, as well as Jeff Jones, also from Voltage Games, with the eventual champion and winner, Hoban Jr., Kamal Crooks from Pro Play Games. The top 32 of YCS Memphis featured 6 first-turn kill Pendulum Magicians, 6 pure Pendulum Magicians, 8 True Draco, 4 Trickstars, 3 Metal Foe Draco, 2 60-card Dinosaurs, 1 60-card Zombie Plant, I have no idea what's in the list either, and 1 60-card Gem Knight. I mean, we have to have those rogue decks in top 32. This time we have 2 different decks, but the Gem Knight is featuring a very, very simple first-turn kill. So we see Pendulum Magicians take up almost half of another YCS's top cut. Now, if you're at any of the feature matches, yes, I said red, this YCS, like many other North American YCS's, was not live streamed on Konami's Twitch channel. Especially the ones with the champion Kamal, you can see the overwhelming power of this deck, with most duels only lasting 1 to 2 turns thanks to this deck, and most decks in the format just being able to generate a huge board with multiple negate effects. Well, I guess in the format with multiple FTK decks, I guess you should be lucky to get your first turn. Well, with Memphis behind us and a new set and a new ban list on the horizon, I know I wouldn't want to be holding on to any Pendulum Magician cards in anticipation for the April 2018 ban list. I don't think we'll see the ban list before Flames of Destruction. Well, we might see it before the sneak peek, but regardless, we'll see the ban list in May, which is way past the April deadline that Konami set for us. Here's hoping we get this sometime in the next month. With Magic Gathering's newest at Dominaria hitting store shelves this Friday, many new player base are beyond excited to get their hands on this set. And I can't blame them. Being a Magic player myself, I am extraordinarily excited for this set. I was at my local pre-release at Corbin Toys and Games. We had almost a record-breaking attendance, having nearly 40 people. I think we had like around 38 to 39. Our record was 42 for Battle for Zendikar. And shout out to that store for just being the most amazing local game store in Corbin, Kentucky. Anyways, everyone seems to love this set, and for good reason. The set seems to be like a good mix of new cards and like returning flavor cards. And because Dominaria is just so dang good, and we love giving you guys content, so this week is going to be a kind of a blowout for Dominaria. We're doing our top 5 cards, and as a special thing for you guys. Now, I don't typically do this, but you know, I'm going to give you guys a list to play at your FNM this week. Now, this is brewed by our Resident Evil genius and avid brewer, Kyle Hentz. Big shout out. This deck is super spicy, guys. But anyways, before then, let's get to our top 5. First, I have an honorable mention, and that is Doomblade. Well, at least the legend-proof version of it, in Cast Down. Cast Down is a spell for a single black and a single generic. This instant destroys target non-legendary creature. Did I mention this card is an uncommon? Yeah, so this card won't be breaking your budget. And it's also going to be hella plentiful in all your draft and sealed flights that you'll probably be firing because this set is just the actual Nutter Butters. So, this is only an honorable mention with seeing all these new legends being printed, and I assume a couple of them are going to make their way into current standard. Well, it remains to be seen if this card truly is the return of Doomblade, but I do expect Cast Down to be casting down a ton of Glorybringers in the near future. Anyways, let's start the countdown. Well, our number 5 is a pseudo return of Banesflame Angel and Lyra Dawnbringer. This mythic legendary angel for 3 generic and 2 white is a 5/5 flyer with first strike and lifelink. Wait, there's more. She's an actual angel lord, giving all your other angels +1/+1 and giving them lifelink. So she pumps up your other angels like Shalai, Voice of Plenty, which is another ridiculous angel in the set. Now, this angel is just a far better finisher than Rigol Caracal and Control Shells. Thanks to it boosting that beautiful 5/5 body, and pumps Angel of Invention and God Pharaoh's Gifts list. As well as just being, like every other creature, pretty good when Scarab God reanimates it, Yeah, can't get through talking about a creature in Standard without comparing it to Scarab God. Though, I do expect Lyra to soar through Standard. On to our number 4. Our number 4 is not quite the high flyer Lyra is, but we'll still be raining some sparks down. Goblin Chain Whirler is a 3-drop rare goblin that costs triple red and is a 3/3 first strike. You don't see that on many goblins. This goblin looks to clear the way for his buddies with his ability to deal 1 damage to each of your opponents and each creature and planeswalker they control whenever he enters the battlefield. This card looks to be a role player in a mostly mono-red aggressive deck by clearing some blockers out of the way for your other goblin buddies to rush in and get to your opponent's life total in both Standard and Modern. He's only at number 4 just because he only seems to be a role player like low to the ground aggressive decks. But if you really want to play with some power in aggressive decks, look at our number 3. Fenilish Marshal is a rare 3/3 white human knight that's a relevant creature type, thanks to History of Benelia, for triple white and gives all your other creatures +1/+1. So this creature looks to be a mainstay in white-based aggressive decks, especially in a knight-themed deck. Again, thanks to History of Benelia and all those really cool Vampire Knight creatures and Ixalan and Rivals of Ixalan. This creature is, again, a pseudo-return to an older card, but this time Inglorious Anthem. This card was a mainstay in White Weenie and token-based strategies. And this card can do all that and beat down for 3. And not to mention, this card just actually becomes absolutely insane if you draw multiples. Like, insane in the membrane. Oh yeah, did I mention he's a non-legendary creature? So you can have as many of this card as possible on the board at the same time, and they all pump each other while pumping your other dudes. Now, like all white-based aggressive decks, you gotta be careful for all those board wipes in the format, like Fumigate and Settle the Wreckage. But if you can navigate through those, I'm sure you'll whittle your opponent's life total down to 0 in a matter of no time. Alright, so our number 1 and 2 are a little controversial. Some will believe that 2 deserves to be 1 and 1 deserves to be 2 and vice versa, and like other, this is a big mess. It is controversial. This really doesn't, our top 5 cards of the set really doesn't change anything. It's just cards I think will be super impactful to like their respective formats. Our number 2 is Karn, Scion of Urza. Man, Dominaria is just packed full of like awesome return cards and throwbacks. Like we got Doomblade, we got Baneslayer Angel, and now we have Karn. God, this set just looks insane. Absolutely love it. I know, I can't wait to do some drafts this weekend. So anyways, talking about Karn. We talked about it in a previous episode of the Fish Tank, so if you want more in-depth look at Karn, you should go check out episode 2. So this Planeswalker may not look as powerful or be as board impacting as his previous incarnation, Karn Liberated, but this Planeswalker is an actual, literal card advantage machine. Get it? Because Karn's an artifact. Jokes. Anyways, thanks to Karn being able to give your opponent the choice of 1 or 2 cards from the top of your deck, and the other one getting a silver counter on it with his +1, and his -1 giving you your choice of any card with a silver counter on it. It's super cool. So no matter what, you're getting the card you want, albeit maybe a turn later, or maybe after a new Karn, because unlike other Planeswalkers that remove cards from the game, like Ashiok Nightmare Weaver, this Karn is not attached to any of those cards. This looks to be designed for most Planeswalkers moving forward with the remove from play mechanic, and I know I can't wait to see what they can come up with. Hopefully we get to see a new Ashiok that doesn't need to be tied to the creatures it removes, you know? But, so, the Karn can get you cards, sure. But if he can't protect himself, he won't be doing anything. If you take a look at, like, other Planeswalkers. Well, this is where his -2 comes into play. His -2 gives you a 0/0 artifact that gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control. So he kind of sort of protects himself. I don't expect -2 will be the go-to ability by any means, but the fact that he can protect himself with a little robot blocker buddy is pretty amazing, and just shows how powerful this Planeswalker can truly be. So anyways, on to our number 1. Our number 1 is the little uncommon that could, Damping Spear. This 2-mana artifact has the effect, if a land is tapped for 2 or more mana, it produces only 1 colorless instead of any other type. I know what you're thinking. Sure, it hates on the Urza lands in Modern, but it doesn't impact the board and doesn't do anything else. Like, come on, there has to be more, and you're right, there is more. Each spell a player casts costs 1 generic more for each spell that players cast this turn. The reason why this card is so important to the modern format, and why it's our number 1, is it not only helps you against 1 deck in the format, but 2. And in a format like Modern, where there's no less than 10 Tier 1 decks, and 15 decks that can be considered Tier 1.5, and with your sideboard only having 15 spots, like you can see where your matchups are like super dependent on your sideboard cards, and you have to make concessions towards other matchups in order to improve certain other ones. Now this card is super important because it serves 2 roles in hating on Tron and Storm, both problem decks in the format. This card enables decks to skip on some hate for Storm and Tron and just pack these, while packing other cards for other important matchups. I know I'm looking forward to see what Damping Sphere does to Modern, and hopefully we can see a more healthier metagame that's not all Tron and Storm, especially at our local store where it's literally just Tron and Storm. Kind of miserable. Well, there's like one red-white prison player, but we don't talk about him. Oh boy, well, that was our top 5 cards for Dominaria, and trust me, like, it was almost impossible to get top 5. This set is like packed full of like so many cool and awesome cards. I talked to our Magic guys and they sent me a list of 25. I had to cut it down to 5. God, talk about some homework to do. Oof, wouldn't wish that on anyone. But now the question is, what should you be playing at your local FNM this week? Now, you don't have all the cards from Dominaria that we talked about, and you really want to play Standard. So, what should you play? Well, our avid brewer and resident evil genius, Kyle Hentz, has sent me this awesome Bant Zakama Primal Calamity list. So, this list looks a lot like the 4-color ramp decks and the Bant Approach list that have been like popping up in Standard recently. But instead of winning with a boring card like Approach of the Second Sons, you win with amazing, super spicy win condition, Zakama Primal Calamity, and Nizal the Primal Tide. Yeah, so look at that. That's some sweet win conditions for you. Dinos for the win! So, what this deck wants to do is ramp. And ramp it does. It has no less than 10 ways to ramp. That's amazing Standard can do this. Also has some dual utility in both card advantage and ramp in the split card Spring the Mind. Also features the blue-green Nissa to help you filter your draws, and acts as a second win condition if your big old dinosaurs just can't get the job done and get grounded out. We've all played those long games. Now this deck isn't all in on ramp. It also features plenty of interaction in the form of rafts like Sell the Wreckage of Fumigate, which this list is packing 2 of each one, so you're just not dead to the red decks in the format, as well as featuring a bunch of 1-for-1s as in Steal Away and Cast Out. This deck also features 2 of each one. So the biggest play in the deck is tap out for Zakama on turn 4 or 5. Yeah, you can do this on turn 4 or 5. Tap out for Zakama, and then Karn's Temporal Sundering, bounce your blocker, take an extra turn, and you win. You should be able to win the game either through Zakama Primal Calamity damage, or featuring your Nissa Steward of Elements, just being able to fireball them out of nowhere. Dominaria is out this week, and if you want to buy any of those awesome cards we talked about in our top 5, or any other cards, get your singles and sealed items today. And remember, we have free shipping on all orders over $25 within the United States. You thought Magic was the only thing that had anything going on this week? Ha! The newest CFB set, Divas Festa, comes out this week, and looks to be just as flashy as the other Diva sets. So don't forget to come on by and grab your fishy waifus while we have those amazing SPs. Pokemon has expanded regional coming up, and if you need any more Jirachis, computer searches, dowsing machines, or any other expanded format staple, you can save 10% off if you use coupon code POKE10 at checkout to save 10% on all expanded format set singles, all weekend long. Get heroic discounts on over 500 card singles and sealed items from Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, HeroClix, and more in our super savings sale going on now. You want to protect those Infinity Stones? Get 10% off select Marvel HeroClix Avengers with coupon code ASSEMBLE at checkout. So that's all for this week, guys, and this week has just been absolutely busy. Dominaria is insane. I can't wait to do drafts at my local game store. Like YCS Memphis happened. That was a ton of stuff to look up. Like Kamal Crooks finally got his W after chasing it forever. Shout out to him, by the way. You deserve it, man. Like you are the return of hope, and you're great. A bunch of other stuff happened, like in the Dragon Ball card game. Like a bunch of cool leaders are like being announced for Tournament of Power. Like we'll get to the spoilers next week. God, next week looks to be also really cool too. Like going over expanded cards, like what you need for the regional coming up. So, anyways, if you guys want to hear all about that and more, don't forget to sub to our YouTube channel, check out our newsletter, and like our Facebook page. Now, I'm Gaming Fish, and this has been the Fish Tank.